Okay, I've given y'all 24 good hours to clutch your pearls and extol the virtues of the Japanese monster, an absolute dynamite of a puncher with the devastating destruction of the Stephen Fulton. Well, just for reference, here was my prediction. Personally, I think that despite the fact that Naoya Inoue is going up a notch, I think that his power is going to carry over because he was just too much for his current division. So he's just going to blitz through Fulton just the way he did his former opponent. It's difficult to just see someone of Fulton's caliber beating Naoya Inoue. That is my opinion. Okay? I specifically said Inoue will blitz through Fulton, meaning he would obliterate him, and my reasons for saying so was very simple. I'm not convinced by Fulton's resume, and just to be clear, he's not a bum, but as far as a great fighter, that's a completely different question because in the eyes of many, he got gifted the win against Figueroa. Now, let me quickly call your attention to one manipulative sentence that boxing fans usually make. Quote unquote, an unbeaten, undisputed champion. You see, fight fans use this term when they amp up a fighter that they know damn well isn't worth the salt, but has the accolades in a rather weak division. Put it this way, for instance, Tank Davis has no belt at 135 pounds, but anybody that fights him today and beats him, they have beaten the Tank Davis. Same goes for Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, etc., etc. My point is, when the talent is there, the name becomes bigger than a title or several titles. But once you hear the term undefeated champion, it's almost like this whitewash used to coat and cover the glaring blandness of the so-called name while trying to make it look like beating him is a completely different world of accomplishment. Once again, I must repeat, Stephen Fulton is not a bum. A good fighter, yes. Great? Plenty of question marks. First off, I'll ask a casual question. Why did he freeze the moment he felt Inouye's power? He couldn't pivot, couldn't pull him into counters, couldn't try fights going backwards, couldn't do any of the other things we saw him do in those other fights. Doesn't this expose the glaring lack of worthy competition on Fulton's resume? Historically in boxing, the lighter weights are much more exciting to watch because they are faster, but great fighters take after each other almost generation by generation in this division, so it's very rare to find a stack of worthy, abundant talent in one division as far as every division below the 130 pounds. Okay, but when you start getting close to the 140 pounds, historically that's where the stiff competition begins. Today, it starts at the 135 pounds with the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, George Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, and you can go on and on, Isaac Cruz. But I cannot name you a single fighter at 130 pounds, 126 pounds, or 122 pounds that ability-wise you can say he is great. Not a single one. You have the elite guys for today's crop, but definitely not the all-timers. The crux of what I'm trying to say is that Inoue is definitely a top 3 pound for pound guy as far as the eye test and as far as what he does efficiently in the ring. But does beating a Stephen Fulton make him an all-time great when Fulton really hasn't beat any great fighter and got a gift against Figueroa? That's my question. And if he's a once-in-a-generation talent, the biggest name on his resume is probably Inonito Donaire that was past his prime both times they fought. And need I remind you that Gervonta literally toyed with the prime Donaire. Again, I'm not disputing Inouye's ability. I'm just saying all this to say that those that are clamoring for a fight between Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue don't even know what they are talking about. Health-wise, what are the odds that a fighter that is already in his 30s can bulk up in a healthy way and move 13 pounds across divisions in a few years to make a fight with a power puncher like Tank Davis that makes 135 in his leanest, meanest form? Meaning that Tank Davis has to shred himself to be the muscular, to be the best muscular version of himself to make 135 pounds. But Inoue at 30, to build his frame up to a point where he can take punches from big guys that punch hard at 135. Basically, an overweight Inoue versus a crisp Tank Davis. Now, let's imagine a world where Inoue has enough body mass to absorb punches that knocked out Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, two natural 140 pounders. At that bulky frame, what are the odds that the pop in his punches will remain? What are the odds? What are the odds that he doesn't get knocked the F out by a devastating left hook? Did you see how Fulton looked close to Inoue at the face-off? Did you see how big Fulton looked standing next to Inoue? You really want to understand that Stephen Fulton doesn't even have the punch power of a guy that is a champion at 122 pounds. So if Fulton had the power to make Naoya Inoue respect him in that ring, the outcome might have been different, even if it will not change the overall, who is going to win the fight. Well, you really want to see Inoue make it 135 pounds in the coming years? It's a world of fantasies and we can all dream. One thing I can say for sure is Inoue is special in today's climate and for sure still has a lot to offer the sport of boxing before his time is up. I do not rule out a fight with Tank Davis. I mean, he can act like Rigo and move up 2 weight classes, especially for a Tank Davis payday. But to favor him in such a fight, do I need to remind you of what happened to Manny Pacquiao the first time he got hit right on the button by a natural welterweight? You already know what happened in that fight. So let's not try this at home, guys. Let's not even dare to try this at home. But then, I know most people are stubborn and will still think that this is even a possibility. So I'm definitely rooting to see the fight happen, just so many people can understand that weight classes exist for a reason. For instance, you can't say a Canelo should go up to heavyweight and face a Deontay Wilder. As skillful as Canelo is, as defensively talented as Canelo is, as an all-time great as Canelo might be, you do not want to stand in front of a big puncher several weight classes ahead of you. You cannot win that fight. Okay, now this is for those, like I said, clutching their pearls and talking about Naoya Inoue moving up to 135 in the coming years. I've presented my case. The other channels can give you, the load of hype that they want to give you in order to generate clicks and buzz. Over here on the Boiling Ring, I tells the truth, bro. I tells the truth. I swear to God, all I do is tell the truth. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the Boiling Ring.